For breakfast, I am making whole wheat sourdough English muffins. And I start this the night before. I use starter, and then you use some whole wheat flour and some water, and then you just mix that all together. It's super easy. And then I just set it on the counter and leave it overnight. And then in the morning, I go ahead and get out the rest of the ingredients and put the mix into my stand mixer. And I'm adding some baking soda, salt, and honey in this. And then I mix that for 5 minutes. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, it should look like this, where it's just kind of sticking on the bottom. It is a really sticky dough, just in general, so I use a lot of flour to make sure it doesn't stick. And then on the pan where I set the English muffins, a lot of cornmeal goes down, and I'm using a 3-inch biscuit cutter to cut these out. And between each one, I flour that biscuit cutter really well on the bottom, just to make sure it's not too sticky. And just so you know, all of the recipes that I am using in this video are linked down in the video description. After I get these all cut out, I leave them on the counter for about an hour and a half, depending on how warm our house is that day, to rise. And that works out really well for us because we usually eat breakfast after we finish up some morning chores. So as the English muffins rise, my kids are moving chicken coops. They feed and water the chickens, move them every day. Sometimes I need to help them move them if the grass is really tall, because they don't roll as easy in tall grass. And then I'm gonna go to the garden and pick all the vegetables that we need for today and the strawberries. Usually I kind of pick as I go along during the day, but today I'm doing it all at once because we're supposed to get some rain later today. That's what, a bad spot? This video is brought to you by Marquette Castings. I am a huge fan of their cookware, and I am using the carbon steel skillet right here, which is made in the USA in Michigan. Carbon steel is awesome because it is more durable and less sticky than stainless steel. And in addition to that, it's also more versatile, so you can take it from your stovetop and stick it right in the oven. The carbon steel skillet is simply steel, and it's seasoned with flaxseed oil, so it's all natural and you don't have to worry about any harmful chemicals getting into your food. And you also don't need to worry about this pan ending up in a landfill, because it is seriously a once-in-a-lifetime pan, meaning you really only need to buy one of these in your lifetime. And I am honestly planning on passing this down to my kids, so it will probably last through many lifetimes. It is that high quality. If you're interested in checking out Marquette Castings, I have left a link down in the video description with a special discount code. Breakfast around our house is generally pretty simple. We usually do some sort of eggs with either sourdough bread, or like today we're doing the sourdough English muffins. We also occasionally mix things up and do oatmeal, or we'll do pancakes or waffles. But for today, just the English muffins and eggs, because it's pretty simple for us. And then on the English muffin, I am topping that with garlic scape pesto. I have a lot of garlic scapes this spring, and so I made them into pesto. And then I also have some fermented red pepper salsa. I always have some sort of fermented something on my breakfast because that is really important for my health. I've noticed a huge difference when I have that. How is it, Dax?
Good.
Delicious? So good? When I made this video, I already had the garlic escape pesto made, so I went back on a different day and I made another batch so I could show you guys. This is a very simple recipe. It's just the garlic scapes chopped up, and then you add walnuts, and I toasted them in my skillet, and I added some salt and a little bit of lemon juice, and then finally I'm adding some oil here to the mix. And then you just put it in a jar, and that's it. You can also add cheese if you eat cheese. I'm not eating dairy right now, so I didn't add cheese to this, but I'm sure it would be delicious. During the growing season, our meals are usually really simple because we're already so busy in the garden, and we're also doing a lot of preserving, so it takes up a lot of time. So I try and cook as minimally as possible. So in general, I try and cook one big dinner and have the leftovers for lunch. But on days when we don't have leftovers, I will often make a salad instead. So that's what I'm showing you here. During the spring and summer and fall, we have so many vegetables available to us that our meat consumption is generally really low. So our salad is just going to be vegetables and then a herb vinaigrette dressing, and because I'm not cooking meat with this, it also really simplifies it and really takes the time down to basically just preparing the vegetables and then the dressing. I'm making some dressing and I needed some herbs to go in it. I'm just gonna grab some dill. I forgot to grab it this morning, but it looks like it's not gonna rain today, which is nice. When I use garlic for a recipe, I often toast it first because it's so spicy, and especially in a recipe that's raw like this vinaigrette. So I am toasting the garlic, and then I add the dill and then the white wine vinegar. And after the garlic's all toasted, you just peel the skins off and then add some salt. And this is some homemade mayo. And then finally I add some honey. And then I blend that up. And after that's all blended really well, that's when I add in the oil, and I add it slowly. And that's it. It's really easy and simple, and it tastes so much better than anything you would find at the store. Super flavorful with the dill. The only other side that I am adding to the salad for lunch is some of my sourdough English muffins that I made for breakfast, and then I'm adding some canned peach butter that I made last year. Throughout the day, the kids were helping me in the background. They were shucking some of the peas that I had picked in the morning. We don't watch very much TV, usually just one night a week. They get to watch a couple of movies, and so when I told them they got to watch a movie if they shucked peas, they were super excited to help me out. When I started making dinner, I realized that I had forgotten a couple of other ingredients that I needed, so I had to go outside yet again. And luckily, I don't have to drive anywhere to get ingredients. It's right outside my door. So I harvested some garlic scapes, and I also harvested some new potatoes. These are volunteer plants from last year. For dinner, I'm planning on making a skillet chicken pot pie. This is also a quick and easy meal for us because I already had some leftover chicken from another meal this week. So that's already cooked and ready to go. And then in addition to that, I have frozen pie crusts in my freezer. So one of the things that makes from scratch cooking a lot easier is if you cook in big batches. So anytime I need a pie crust for a recipe or a dessert, I make the pie crust for that recipe, and then I also will make 4 times as many as I need so that I can freeze the rest for days like this when I don't have a ton of time to cook. So I'm adding some oil to my Marquette Castings carbon steel skillet, and then I add in all of the vegetables that I just chopped. After I add in the vegetables, I let them saute in the pan for a little bit, and then I add in 2 cups of home canned chicken broth. And I'm also grabbing some rosemary, and this is sage. I just grabbed 2 sage leaves. And then I add in some salt. And how much salt you add really depends on how much salt is in your broth. I added a whole teaspoon because I don't add much salt to my broth. And then I added in the last 2 cups of the chicken broth that were in that jar with some flour. And if you eat dairy, this would be the point where instead of adding 2 more cups of chicken broth, you could add in some milk instead. And then I added in my peas kind of at the end because I don't like my peas super overcooked. And then I added the herbs and finally some diced cooked chicken. And when you finish, it's really full. And here I'm unrolling my pie crust that I had frozen. You just need to make sure you take it out around lunchtime. And I just set it on my counter. Or you can take it out the day before and let it thaw in your refrigerator if you think ahead. I usually don't. And then for this, I flip the pie crust on there and then I flute the edges. The final step is I add an egg wash. This is just 1 egg mixed up, and then you add a tablespoon of water to it and brush it all over the crust. And then you go ahead and put it in the oven. I cook this at 425 for 30 minutes. If your pan's really full, you want to put another pan underneath so it catches any spills. But mine actually kind of cooked down a little bit, so it wasn't too bad. And this is the final result. It was delicious. Most nights we usually will either skip dessert, or for dessert we have fresh fruit from the garden, but tonight I wanted to try something different and use our strawberries and rhubarb to make a strawberry rhubarb crisp. So this one is actually not my recipe. It is one that I just found online and I thought looked good, so I thought I would try it out. I decided to use my Marquette Castings Dutch oven for this one. Crisps are always really good in a Dutch oven. Also, it was really easy to clean up and cooks really well.
How is it?
It's good.
Good.
It's very sugary, so next time I would do less sugar in this.
Okay. You like less sugar than
most people
in America.
Yeah. Mmm.